If you would all please join and stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good evening. I'm Gabriel St. Pierre, Chair of the Falmouth Regional School District Budget Committee. And at this time, I'll turn it over to our Vice Chair, Amanda Chafin.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Amanda Chafin. I am the Vice Chair of the Budget Committee, and I am the representative from the town of Langdon. Yes, you can't hear? Okay. I will speak up louder. Is that better? Okay. All right, so tonight we are going to present to you the bottom line operating. It was working before.
Yes. Okay.
Right. Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to present to you the bottom line of the operating budget number, which will be on warrant article 1. Okay. As an introduction, we already heard from Gabe. Our other member here is Jerry Henry, at large. Chris Spalding is our representative from Charlestown. Jennifer Marchese is our representative from Alstead. Michael Aaron is our representative from Akron. Steve Alessio is our representative from Walpole. Jamie Teague is our secretary and also our school board representative, but unfortunately she's unable to be with us this evening. Okay. Okay, so as you may or may not know, the budget committee meets throughout the year, at least monthly. As the budget season comes around, the frequency of our meeting increases. The budget committee strives to work collaboratively with the administration and the school board, asking questions and requesting information to ensure the ultimate budgetary number balances the interests of the collaborative. And below is the timeline of how we arrive, at this year's bottom line budgetary number. This year, the draft numbers were presented in October. On December 12th, the version 2 of the budget was presented at $35,263,849. Following this presentation, the budget committee met multiple times to discuss the budget as presented. We discussed things like vacancy management, the position justifications, and other miscellaneous expenses. On January 6th, the school board had a meeting where administration presented version 2.3 of the budget to the school board. At this meeting, the administration presented a $244,000 reduction to the budget. In addition, at this meeting, the school board voted to reduce the administrative raises from a 4% increase to a 3% increase. On January 8th, there was a joint meeting between the school board and the budget committee, where the administration presented version 3 of the budget. Version 3 of the budget totaled $34,842,947. This was a $420,902 reduction from the original version 2. The reductions were made up by reducing the budget by a total of 4 positions. 2 of these positions were noted as vacant. 1 position was a bus wait position, and there was 1 classroom aide position that was eliminated. There was a pager position which was also eliminated, but it's important to note that $20,000 of that salary was retained for contracted services. In addition to those positions, the reduction was also, further reductions were made up of contracted services, travel, supplies, software. There was some other equipment that was reduced, diesel fuel, as well as professional dues. That reduction of all of those things I just listed totaled $244,267. The administration also believed that in addition to this number, they could exercise vacancy management in the amount of $160,000. Additionally, on January 8th, the budget committee met and voted to recommend the operating budget of $34,663,849. This represents a reduction of $600,000 from version 2 of the budget. It was noted at this meeting that the budget committee appreciated the cuts that the administration had made, but the committee as a whole felt that there was more opportunity in vacancy management. That brings us to today. Okay, the next slide talks about significant changes in budgetary makeup. The first significant change is the increase in healthcare costs. Healthcare costs this year increased by 10.5%, which resulted in $750,300 of an increase. There was also an increase in IT software in the amount of $75,000. The third-year teacher contract is an increase to the budget of $462,203. And while this next bullet is an important piece of information, the increase to the budget related to the support staff union's proposed contract is not included in the operating budget total for warrant Article 1. This is a negotiation year, and as such, the numbers presented on the screen will be voted by the voters in warrant Article 2. Okay, but this is what the proposed is. Okay. Okay, so talking about final calculation. As we discussed, the total for the operating budget is $34,663,849. To that number, we have to add $2,058,733 from the all other funds line. All other funds includes grants and food service programs, grants like title grants, Perkins, IDEA, and FMEEA grants for Title I programming, among other things. When you add these two numbers together, you get a final calculation of $36,722,582. Lastly, talking about the default, when you come up with a default budget number, the administration has a formula that they have to follow in order to come up with this number. Default budget number for this year is $37,270,640. It's important to note that this year the default budget is higher than the proposed budget by a total of $548,058. That's where we are. Okay.
Thank you, Amanda. At this time, we'll open the floor to public comment on the budget as presented. One more call. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns? Please state your name for the record.
Brenda Kane, Charlestown. On the handout that was over there, it says that there's a 1.77% decrease of the budget. Yeah. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, show me where you're looking.
Very bottom.
Page 1.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'm still trying to understand why there's a decrease in the budget, but an increase in our tax rate.
Increase in our tax rate does not reflect what we are looking.
Because warrant Article 1. Yep. Is 68 cents an hour for Charleston. Yep. 86, I'm sorry. 86, yep. Every town has an increase. I'm just trying to understand, like, not matching up for me.
So,
You have to speak out because they not hear you on their side of the room. Okay, I will. I'm just waiting for Brandon because we have to. So, as long as this out, pick up this side of the room. So it is my. The 1.1. Reduction in the budget that also shows an increase in tax rate. is because there is a decrease in the amount of aid received by each of our towns that's projected for the next 2 years. So what that means is, of that budget, we still are required to pick up that $4 amount. All sales increase. All of them are increased. But there's a significant decrease in the amount of money that we're intended to receive from the state.
I'm saying that number went up.
It's also a factor of the fund balance that was returned. The budgets, as they're compared to this year's budget to next year's budget, doesn't reflect that fund balance return. The tax rate reflected the fund balance return.
I'm just asking their motion again. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Any other question or comment regarding the budget as presented?
I do have a comment.
Name for the record, please.
Nancy Hope, Charlestown. I think you should have a sound system in here because we're not getting half of what is being said.
So noted. We'll try not to add it to the budget.
Good.
Steve Burrow, Charleston. Sure, good work there. That's what I've done.
Say it again, Steve.
Special education down $1.25 million. What's that?
Lori, can you speak to that, please?
So, we had some, of the positions that were eliminated for special ed. We have a reduction in our out-of-district placement tuitions. We vacancy management in order to allocate and appropriate it over the towns in an equitable manner, is going to, the high school object code, the location code. But it's mostly attributable to, parent positions, so it's also against the, 1200 function as well.
Also second question. Just an update on what's happening with the North Charlestown Community School. I noticed the funding transfers and Monday nights in general, we didn't attend the meeting. And I'm just curious if there's an update on what's to be called North Charleston.
We do not have an update at this budget hearing. That is not a budget committee concern, but we will not be addressing it today.
Charleston, with the 10+% increase in the healthcare costs. I'm curious, is the district still self-fund? Like, I haven't paid attention for a couple of years. I can date myself.
The answer is no, we are no longer self-insured.
Follow-up question to that is, do we have long-term planning? Obviously, we can't control it, but 10% the gouge. I mean, we provide healthcare for our employees and it's only an idle. Fires went up, put about 10%.
So the question is, we understand that we, can't predict it, but what we pretend so that we don't have a 10% increase every year for health insurance.
So, I guess just a point of information, the 10% increase is actually a decrease over the increases we've seen over the last, few years. We are looking at alternate solutions for healthcare that might confer savings for both the employees and the patient. We were not able to make that change with this.
Patty,
If I go back
name please for the record.
Patty Chitty, Charlestown. Mr. Barone asked the question about the North Charlestown School, so just for clarification, there is no money in this budget for that school?
There was no money in the current year's budget, nor is there money in next year's budget.
That's my question.
Okay, good.
Any further question, comment, or concern? Hearing none, we'll close the budget hearing. And we'll turn it over to the school.
Budget hearings.
Excuse me, so the budget hearing is still open, the portion.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
the budget hearing. We'll turn it over to the school board if it's time to go through the warrant.
Very much.
Excuse me. Brendan, any progress on shutting the fans off? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gabe, and the rest of the budget committee. It's been an impressive season to watch, and we appreciate all the hard work. If I could have each of the school board members announce themselves for the record and for people online.
Shelley Hendricks, Charlestown.
Bill Beck, Alsted.
Kevin Keith Langdon.
Sarah Vogel, Ackworth.
Alyssa Bascom, Charlestown at large. Jenny Donovan, Walpole. Thank you. At this point, I will read each of the warrant articles that we are expecting. Warrant Article 2. This article will fund a. Okay. Well, then at this point, I would like to tell the audience here that the school board has met several times. Can you hear me?
May I make a recommendation that if you are having trouble hearing, we could combine over to this side of the room. 40 feet might help with the volume.
Sorry, I will try to yell. It is actually yelling for me, so I apologize. On Article 1, as I was saying, we appreciate the hard work that the budget committee has done. We as a committee, a board, have come together and we offer a separate budget amount. At this point, this school board is in support of the version 3 budget. We acknowledge that our administrators came back several times, talked about their budget, individual in their buildings, individual in their departments. There were some really hard conversations, some very significant cuts that they made. A lot of efficiencies were put into place, which is what we've been asking for as a board. It's incredibly appreciated. This school board supports version 3 with a total budget of $36,901,680.84. It will go on the warrant article. It is not the number that the voters will be voting on. That is the budget committee's budget, but we thought it very important to express our appreciation for what the administration has done over the last several months in regards to the budget being put out to the public. With that, I ask for each of our board members to express their support or not for the budget that the budget committee has put forward.
Jenny Donovan, I support the number that you presented. That would reflect version 3.
So on the version going on Article 1, which is $36,722,582, not about budget, it is the further reduction. How do you
Yes.
support that number?
Yes. No, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. No, I apologize. So no is, I'm saying no to the budget committee number.
Okay, thank you. Shelley Andrew.
I'm a little confused to how you're stating
The
it.
question confuses me too.
I apologize. Let me clarify. I wanted to express to the public that the school board has supported a higher number than what the budget committee is presenting in Article 1. And our reason being that we support the hard work that our administrators and department heads have done. The number that we are looking to put, the vote we are looking to put on Article 1 is whether you support the reduced number that the Budget Committee has put forward, which is the number that the taxpayers will vote on, barring any changes today or at the deliberative session.
I understand that,
Our number does
but
not,
I'm not supporting the default.
no, the default has nothing to do with this.
All right. No,
Mr. Levesque.
I also say no.
I also say no.
I also say no.
I also say no.
Okay, for budget committee recommendations on Article 1 as presented, the budget committee's recommended budget of 36,000,000. $36,722,582. Starting at the end of the table. Chris Spalding.
Yes.
Yes. Michael Aaron.
Yes.
Steve Leslie. Yes. Brandon Chief.
yes,
Steve St. Pierre, yes. Jennifer Martinez. Yes. Gary Henry.
Yes.
Going David Steve Pass.
All right.
How does your own line?
It appears on the warrant as what you have on the screen currently with a subline with the school board's preferred number.
It'll go with the school board's recommendation, what their number was. It'll have no bearing on that, but it'll say that they do not recommend.
School board recommends this one, yes or no.
It'll say the school board does. Yeah.
No, I'm just worried about the followers now.
So
You're on this part.
it will, the school board does not support the budget, they support 36,901,680.
But somewhere on the line.
I think that I voted no, that is the number that, is a little confused, I've never seen that on the warrant before, so I'm just curious as to if that's on the ballot, that's the 36,722. And it's noted that the school board does not recommend it, but the budget committee recommends. And somewhere in that statement where it says the school board doesn't recommend, but they recommend the budget or blah, blah, blah. By voting no, you're not saying you're agree to that. Right. So you're gonna end up with a default budget, which like, instead of coming to the table for around 200,000, we're gonna end up jumping 500,000.
Yes.
If in fact people vote no on the budget, we will have a default that is higher than either or.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is between the two boards, you couldn't come to a, like some people around, because if we go to the default, it's 500,000, but you're only talking 200,000.
We did not recommend the default budget.
I
No,
understand
what
that.
I'm saying is that because, sorry, Sharon, go ahead.
so I guess that's where my confusion is coming from. This is kind of what I said before. When the voters look at this, they're going to see a budget committee that supports that number, their number presented, which this board is supporting a larger number. But then the voters are also going to see that the school board doesn't recommend this budget, but they recommend in italicized, they recommend a completely different number that no voter is going to be able to vote on. So then they may choose to do the default, which I don't approve of. So with, I don't agree with the budget committee necessarily. And I haven't, in all fairness, I haven't been there for the conversation, but I also don't agree with the default. And I certainly don't want to put a recommendation on a warrant article that may persuade someone to vote for the default if we don't agree with the default.
The alternative is to support the budget committee's budget.
I would like to change my vote to support the budget committee.
Are there any other changes among the board members? Seeing none, I believe we can go forward. Warrant Article 2. You all want me to read this out loud? All right. School board, do you recommend Article 2 to support the support staff contract? Ms. Dunn?
Jenny, yes.
Ms. Andrews?
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.
Budget Committee on warrant article 2, support staff collective bargaining agreement. Chris Spalding,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Steve, yes. Amanda,
Yes.
Dave, yes. Jennifer,
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
On Article 3, school board, how do you,
Just a point of order. Are you not taking any questions on the warrant articles?
not until the deliberative.
Thanks.
Thank you. On Article 3, is Donovan?
Yes.
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 On article 3 for the budget committee. Chris,
Abstain.
Michael,
Yes.
Steve,
Abstain.
Amanda,
Yes.
Dave, yes. Jennifer,
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
With new information, if anybody has a question about any particular warrant article, please do feel free to ask. Steve, did you want to ask a question about any of the current articles?
Next question. I don't have a question.
My apologies. Anybody else other than Steve have a question on any of the warrant articles that we've discussed thus far? Seeing none.
No, I do have a question. I'm Leroy Watson. I'm the school district moderator. Quickly back on Article 1, I understand that the school board wants to present a different number, but as presented in the warrant article, the total budget is presented as two parts, 34,663,849 plus 2,058,743 for special funds. It wasn't clear to me in your vote related to the different number that the school board wanted to present, how that difference in funds would be reflected within both components of the general budget, the general budget, and then the special funds. So I think if we want to have a difference in presentation, we need to make sure the voters are clear about how the school district board, school board, looks at where those funds would go within the presentation that's already been made in the article between special and other funds.
Sure. the school board number of $36,901,680.84 is made up of an operating a budget.
It's an operating budget of general funds and the special funds. So what the board is, their number would be the general fund, which is the first component.
All right, so for clarification, the school board's recommendation makes no change to the second number.
Correct. So it equals $34,842,947.34 plus $2,058,733.
Thank you.
No, fine. Yes,
Brittany, if the defaults were to be the one that was voted upon, what would the tax impact be?
that is still in question because of the changes to the budget. And so how that shakes out will be at the deliberative session.
Decisions made tonight.
Seeing no other questions. On Article 5. Let me just keep. Article 4.
Might I suggest, for people who are online, who don't necessarily have this in front of them, you could just give a recap of what it is, at least.
You should be able to see it's projected.
Oh, it's projected, okay. Never mind.
But that's okay. Article 4 concerns Charlestown's withdrawal from the capital reserve accounts. Ms. Donovan.
Yes.
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 For the budget committee on Article 4. Specifically for the Charlestown voters to appropriate $106,238 for capital improvements. How do we recommend? Chris?
Yes.
Michael?
Yeah.
Steve?
Steve.
Amanda?
Yes.
Dave, yes. Jennifer?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Are there any questions regarding Article 4? Seeing none. Article 5, shall the Walpole voters vote to appropriate $112,000 for capital improvements to the Walpole primary schools?
Yes.
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 For the budget committee on Article 5. How do we recommend? Chris?
Steve.
Michael?
Yeah.
Steve? Yes. Amanda?
Yes.
Dave, yes. Jennifer?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Are there any questions regarding Article 5? Seeing none. Article 6, shall the Walpole voters vote to appropriate $70,000 to hire a qualified firm for engineering and architectural drawings to facilitate expansion of the Walpole primary school?
Jenny, yes.
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 For the budget committee regarding Article 6. How do we recommend? Chris?
Abstain.
Michael?
Yeah.
Steve? No. Amanda?
Yes.
Dave, abstain. Jennifer?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Yes.
I just want, the reason I voted no, is I don't think there was any, or very limited discussion with the voters of Walpole. I don't think they consulted with the commissioners. They certainly did not consult with the Walpole Select Board. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think it's a good idea that we look at this, but I think we should just get all the stakeholders together early as opposed to start spending money. I do know the site-based committee looked at it, and I do know it was a suggestion from Barco on life safety.
Thank you.
Justin Casarino, Walpole. North Walpole commissioners were spoken to. I met with them, so they're aware. And like we said, we've spoken with our site-based committee members for the past year and a half now. Selectmen will be the next piece for that.
Mr. Rowe?
Just the language. This is a little limited. So here, expansion of the Walmart private school. Sounds like make the building bigger. As opposed to potentially building another building. Having that be at least a hobby.
May very well be the case. They will be studying. Ms. JB?
Actually, Charles, so just for clarification, and I apologize for this question, but if in fact things move forward with any withdrawal, do the capital reserves for that town go with them?
It is my understanding that that is the case, but that will be discovered.
I'm just asking, because otherwise, I guess I was looking at this like, oh, they're just gonna grab all this free money now.
I do not believe that is what's happening. I just want to put that out there.
It's their bottom line, but if it doesn't, then that makes me a little weird.
Did you say free though? It's not any free around here.
Thank you.
I'm sure they paid it.
Are there any other questions regarding Article 6?
Can I, actually, just one point of thing, regarding what Mr. Barone said, and I don't know what we're gonna do with that. Excuse me, in terms of the verbiage. I think that it needs to be specific to the scope of the work. So my understanding was that it was to look at an expansion. To your point, if it's also to explore an additional building, that number probably has to be revisited. So I think that we need to get clear on that pretty quickly.
The reason I made the point is that I may find by expanding the building, basically a lot of compliance. Whereas if you build another building, say 10 feet behind it, a little breezeway, you don't have to deal with compliance issues. That's not to say you don't want to deal with the compliance issues, but we don't necessarily want to force it with. And so, you know, if for a freestanding structure, because I don't think the heating system there to be able to support an expansion. There's a lot of things in there that, you know, it's a 1957 building, a lot of things in there, you know, as well as expansion. It would be a lot easier to build directly behind it. That'd be so land. This really low value, right? That's what it might be sort of a workaround to say it's not opposed to what it's at.
Yeah.
Want to make sure that the language is allowed to get that.
Thank you. I understand we have Deb Manso, our superintendent, who would like to address this as well. She is online.
Good evening, everyone. It's kind of hard for me to see or to hear exactly what's being discussed around this particular article. So if I repeat what someone also already has said or made a point about, I apologize. The whole idea on this article and the study is, of course, North Walpole has very few students, and there's a possibility that we could actually close that in coming years. What Justin, the Casarino, the principal, and I have been discussing is the importance of giving voters choices. So if we have somebody come in and talk about the possibilities of what we could do, then when we come back with that information, we can present several options to the public as to what they would like to see happen. So closing North Charlestown, could we add on to the primary? Could we change some of the other configurations? We're not sure. That's why we're asking for some kind of a study so we can bring the voters as much accurate information as possible. Thank you.
that raise any additional questions? Seeing none. Article 7, shall the district vote to appropriate 24,000 for capital improvement to the Fall Mountain Regional High School to replace inlet to septic tank with said funds to come from the high school capital reserve fund? Jenny, yes?
Yes.
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 Budget Committee regarding Article 7, that we recommend. Chris?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Steve? Yes. Amanda?
Yes.
Dave, yes. Jennifer?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Are there any questions regarding Article 7? Seeing none. Article 8, shall the district vote to appropriate $10,000 to hire a qualified firm to update engineering and architectural drawings for a secure entrance, office space, and auditorium updates to the Fall Mountain Regional High School? Jenny, yes?
Yes.
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 For the Budget Committee regarding Article 8. Chris?
No.
Michael?
No.
Steve? Yes. Amanda?
Yes.
Dave, yes. Jennifer?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Are there any questions regarding Article 8? Would anybody like clarification? Seeing none. Article 9, shall the district vote to raise and appropriate up to $250,000 to be placed in the district's capital reserve funds with the breakdown as follows: 7.17% up to 17,922 to be added to the Ackworth Capital Reserve Fund, 13.5% up to 33,754 to be added to the Alstead Capital Reserve Fund, 45.74% up to 114,356 to be added to the Charlestown Capital Reserve Fund, 5.23% up to $13,072 to be added to the Langdon Capital Reserve Fund, 28.36% up to $70,895 to be added to the Walpole Capital Reserve Fund, with said funds to come solely from any year-end unassigned general fund balance. Jenny, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 No.
For the Budget Committee regarding Article 9. Question. So again, I got. Okay, question. Why 250,000? Why not more? We've had large surpluses in the past 2 years of over $1 million. Why are we only using 250,000?
250,000 has been the amount that's been attributed to each of the individual towns thus far. In years past, it's been 500,000 with 250,000 going directly to the high school capital reserve fund. That is a very hefty fund at this point. If you see in the information in the above article that it's at 846,000 right now. So we opted not to add that.
Yeah. Why would we make it return more of the surplus every year to voters through the capital program? Right? You can put any number you want there, 'cause it's up to, and it's based on what the surplus is. So if that number was larger, you had to be surplus, you go back to the voters through the capital.
I think this is from my own perspective. If you send it through the capital reserve funds, it is taxpayer dollars that then sit in a fund. And if you do not put it in capital reserve from in this manner, it goes back to the taxpayers via the tax rate in the following year.
It says comes from the unassigned general fund balance.
It is, if there's unassigned balance at the end of the year, it goes back through the process.
This 250,000 comes from the unassigned fund balance.
It does, and if it doesn't go into the capital reserves, it goes to the taxpayers.
Right, if we put this number at 500,000, you had
$1.2 million surplus. We'd be able to put 500,000 to the capital.
That is absolutely true, but if we did that, then there's $250,000 less that to go back directly to the taxpayers who have already paid it in.
Right.
Does anybody else want to add?
Someone could make the motion during the deliberative session to change that.
I have a question, John. Thinking about our huge tax increase this year due to the huge fund balance we had last year. If we were to make it 500,000, that would impact us that way because it's still off kilter, correct? With the fund balance that was currently, so it would hurt us more in the future, yes.
Could potentially based on future decisions.
Budget committee, any further? How do we recommend, Chris?
No.
Michael?
No.
Steve?
Yes.
Amanda?
No.
Dave, no. Jennifer?
No.
Jerry?
Yes.
Are there any other questions from the public for Article 9? Mr. Neal?
Here, Neil, Charlestown, small statement. We have surpluses in excess of $1 million at the end of the year, budget process. Okay. Then we could make more aggressive budgets. It's a lot of money just kicking around at the end of the year. Don't use it, but to have be safe.
To that point, we hear that, and that is why you will see a budget well under default this year. There's been some pretty serious looks at exactly what you're talking about, so that we get even closer in coming years. Anybody else want to speak? All right, Article 10. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate $50,000 for the purpose of hiring contracted services to assist the central office in gathering and processing information necessary for the preparation of a study on the feasibility and suitability of the withdrawal of one or more pre-existing district or districts from the cooperative school district under the provisions for RSA 195:25. The costs incurred for such contracted services will be allocated proportionately to the town or towns voting for a withdrawal study as a direct cost. This article is contingent on the passing of an article on the town or town's ballot that calls for the preparation of a withdrawal study pursuant to RSA 195:25. Donovan.
Can you come back to me for a second, please?
Certainly.
Yes.
Absolutely, positively, yes, having served on the last, no help whatsoever.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Can I ask a clarifying question?
absolutely.
When it says that the services would be allocated proportionally to the town's voting as a direct cost, is proportionally suggesting there would be more than one town involved in such a thing,
There
potentially?
is potential.
Okay,
for
I just
more
want to
than one
understand
town.
that, okay. Then yes, I just wanted clarification on that.
So, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on one sec, Jenny, did you record your vote?
So I think I did, yes.
Yes, okay.
I'll say it again, yes.
Ms. Chafee.
Clarification, the last statement, this article is contingent on the passing of an article in the town ballot that called for, so. It was already called? Is it already contingent, like you've already passed it even if it's prior, or has it been on this year's ballot?
This year's ballot.
Interesting.
So there's at least 2 towns and potentially more who will be putting this on their town ballot this year.
I can speak that it's 3 towns now. Alsted has joined the other 2 towns.
What are the other 2 towns?
Right.
Walpole, Langdon, and Elmsted now.
Thank you.
The budget committee regarding Article 10, what do you recommend? Chris?
Steve.
Michael?
No.
Steve? No. Amanda?
No.
Steve, yes. Jennifer?
No.
Gary?
No.
Are there questions regarding Article 10? Hold on.
Leroy Watson again, for the proposed appropriation of $50,000, is that the total amount? Or does it depend on how many towns actually vote? So is it $50,000 per town, or is it just simply a number of $50,000? And if there are multiple towns, then those funds need to be used accordingly, supporting multiple studies.
It is one study, regardless of how many towns vote in favor of a study. So one $50,000 appropriation. Mr. Brown?
First an observation, your informational note at the end. Verbatim, was one article, seems about the points. Then a clarification has sort of been asked, and all the really quite answered. Proportion, this would be proportion. 2 would be 50%, 3 would be 30 each, is that what you mean by proportion?
Exactly.
Oh, so it's just, there's 4 towns, it's one. Yeah, okay. Have you cleared this with council?
We have.
And come back and it's conditional, he or she is okay with it?
It would have to be conditional on if everybody votes no to a study, then there would be no need to have this appropriation.
But at least one, I know, voting on this after this article. Is no. So it'll be an unknown when this gets over.
It will be unknown how many, so this will get voted on. It will depend on what the votes of those towns are as indicated by,
This does mean all that needs to, I'm not sure what's.
it is as well, correct?
Was not, sorry, what was not, to meeting will take place on Saturday, this whole fine. So on that Tuesday, the vote is going to vote. They won't know,
Well, they wouldn't know, I mean, Charlestown would vote the same at the same time, so you wouldn't have the result in order to have this vote. You have to decide if in fact it happens.
This was different more than 6 years ago. I understand that, but we didn't see this 6 years ago. You see, now, it feels like a voice.
Maybe they didn't ask the question 6 years ago.
I think that is different voice. It just feels like a voice. But, we'll build it for the percentages.
It's not the intention to be anything of the sort. We know that it is a heavy lift that we all went through in 2018-19. And that it was sometimes difficult to get information. And what this does is provide a person who will put that together so that there is a timely delivery of that information. We know that we have 180 days in order to put that report together.
Just out of curiosity, 50 as opposed to 40 as opposed to 60 and rationale.
50 was what was recommended by council.
Right.
Or something like this.
And
Sorry, excuse me, Sarah.
sorry.
The amount of time and the amount of effort, when this came forward before, there was an amount that was on the warrant for a study, and that amount was put down to 0. So that was not to hire an outside firm. That was to be able to allow us the time and the effort to be able to do the study that needs to be done by law. The fact is that many of us, some of us who are on this board now, were part of that study. And it took an inordinate amount of time and effort to be able to put the information together. And so what we want to be able to do, and there were times when it was hard to get the information in a timely manner from central office because they were trying to run the district at the same time. So what our effort is to be able to have an outside firm be able to do that, to be able to make it so that people can still do the jobs that they're supposed to be doing to run the district, as opposed to taking all that time away from running the district to be able to discuss breaking up the district. And so that's the purpose for putting this forward. And it was felt that if a town is looking at withdrawing, then that town should, as opposed to, towns who aren't looking at withdrawing, those towns should be the ones that would take that bill. Not as a poison pill, but as just reality.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that back 6 years ago, a very similar article was on 6 years ago, it was for $30,000. Inflation says it should be 50 now, and 6 years ago, it got zeroed out as delivered. And I'm praying that this doesn't happen, because it was a tremendous amount of work that was put into that, and it was very, very difficult at the time. I think this is a better way to go.
Mr. Delesio,
What is Plan B?
what is Plan B if
This fails and the towns succeed.
Plan B is to follow RSA 195 as the
So
process?
where you find the capacity to do this?
Absolutely. There are several options. Actually, one is to continue as is and get information as quickly as possible. Another is to look at hiring somebody and doing a budget transfer in order to pay an additional person. But we're hoping to preempt that by being able to hire a firm to do so.
I was on that committee in 2018. I know we now work.
Are there any other questions regarding Article 10? That concludes the warrant articles for this year. We did, yes.
I don't think yeah, they did.
Okay, meeting 6:34, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. All those in favor, please say aye. Thank you for your time. Frank.